Welcome to the 98th installment of Tell Em Alejandro, your number one place for sports, cars, video games, fitness. If you're a man, you're here. Mr. Alejandro about to tell him.
What you about to tell him, Alejandro?
I'm about to tell him about the 2015 college football championship game between the Oregon Ducks and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Tell him, Alejandro.
TA drinkers, before I even go any further, I want to give a big special shout out to my man, Stuart Scott. Unfortunately, Stuart Scott passed away. He used to work with ESPN, and he was an African American who I used to love watching on ESPN when I was growing up. Every morning, get ready to go to school, I used to see my man Stuart Scott. I used to like him a lot because I feel like the way that he spoke, I could relate to it. It's like how I was speaking to my friends, you feel me? And that was like the first time I really got some type of flavor like that on ESPN. And now, of course, there's mad cats with mad type of personalities on ESPN. But shout out to my man Stuart Scott. Without Stuart Scott, I probably would not even be here right now. Shout out to my man Stuart Scott.
Shout out!
TA drinkers, the Ohio State Buckeyes defeated the Oregon Ducks 42-20 in the first ever playoff national championship game, and the Ohio State Buckeyes are the new college football champions. First things first, this was the highest rated event on ESPN ever. So clearly, there's a big interest now that college football has a playoff system. It even pulled me in. I wasn't watching college football before all this. Now, coming into this game, over the weekend, we found out that one of the Oregon Ducks wide receivers, Darren Carrington, got suspended for, you guessed it, smoking marijuana. Allegedly, that's what they're saying, supposedly. But the Ducks kind of don't want to talk about it in public, but it's basically been reported it was marijuana. I have a problem with this because I feel like I'm not approving smoking marijuana, but why would you do it before the big game, the national championship game, buddy? You cannot fail that drug test. Whatever you do, you just can't fail that drug test. You let your team down, you let yourself down. I'm disgusted with you, Mr. Carrington.
Step it up, son.
Now, also going up into the game, I heard some quotes, some comments from the coach for the Oregon Ducks, which just had me feeling like, whoa, hold up a minute. This is not good. Coach for the Oregon Ducks, Mark Helfrich, said, "It's not about the players, it's about the system." This is one of his answers to one of the questions. That had me looking like, whoa, hold up, buddy. Your system could be nice and dandy, but if you don't have the players to run your system means basically nothing. Just look at my New York Knicks right now. Phil Jackson is trying to install the triangle offense right now with Derek Fisher. How's that working out? You don't know? I'll tell you. Right now, the New York Knicks are off to their worst start in franchise history. They're pathetic. They're a joke of a team. Want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because they don't have the players to run the triangle offense. So if you don't have the players, that system means nothing. I think that Mark Helfrich is wildin'. Another thing that Coach Mark Helfrich said was, adjustments are overrated and you can't reinvent yourself. I was like, word? That's crazy. I feel like as a coach, or just as anybody in general, you always need to make adjustments. The best players, the best coaches make adjustments. I look at the New England Patriots, Coach Bill Belichick. Want to know why he's one of the waviest coaches of all time? He makes adjustments. Look at Coach Gregg Popovich for the San Antonio Spurs. Want to know why he's one of the waviest coaches of all time? I'll tell you why. He makes adjustments. I don't understand how you can't make adjustments on the fly, my G. Look at Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. What does he do every time he steps up to the line of scrimmage? He observes what the defense is doing, then he decides to change a play depending on what he sees. You always got to make adjustments. You can't just rely on your system and say that you can't reinvent yourself. It doesn't work like that, buddy. And now, as you guys know, because I did a prediction episode, going into the game, I picked the Oregon Ducks to win. After seeing Darren Carrington get suspended, and after hearing Mark Helfrich open his mouth with these foolish statements, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm in for a world of trouble because the Oregon Ducks are not going to win. But as the game started, the Oregon Ducks had the football. They drive right down the field with no pressure and score a touchdown. Got me hyped because I felt like the Oregon Ducks' fast tempo offense would be the difference maker. I immediately started tweeting, yeah, Oregon Ducks, I'm looking like a boss. All of a sudden, nah, Mr. Alejandro, pump your brakes. Ohio State Buckeyes just manhandled and physically beat down the Oregon Ducks to get back into the game and won the game decisively at the end. I feel like the Ohio State Buckeyes offensive line and defensive line were the difference maker in this game. I felt like the Ohio State Buckeyes were just so much bigger, so much stronger, and more physical than the Oregon Ducks. I felt like the Ohio State Buckeyes were goons in the paint. I felt like they were from Chiraq, you feel me? I felt like the Oregon Ducks were just soft. They were not about that life. They were not trying to throw them balls in the paint. They ain't had no broad shoulders. They was soft. I felt like the Ducks were trying to rely on their speed. It worked out for them all season, but in this game, it didn't work out. Let's start giving some shout-outs. First things first, shout out to the head coach for the Ohio State Buckeyes, Urban Meyer. He's now the second head coach to win a national championship with multiple teams. The only other head coach to ever do that is the current head coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide, Nick Saban. Shout out to Urban Meyer. And Urban Meyer kept it a buck. He was being interviewed. They were asking him, yo, did you think this team would win a national championship? He said, no, hell no. Then they said, when did you believe that this team would win a national championship? He said, after the Ohio State Buckeyes blew out the Wisconsin Badgers 59-0 on the last week of the regular season to make the playoffs, that's when he started to believe, yo, I feel like we could win the national championship. Then he really motivated his players and got them on board with him, and they all felt like, yo, we're goons. We're gonna get the W. So shout out to Urban Meyer. He's a great head coach. A lot of cats are ranking Urban Meyer in the top right now in terms of football head coaching skills in both the NFL and the NCAA. So that's a big accomplishment for Urban Meyer. I feel like he's earned it. Shout out to Urban Meyer, man. Shout out! Next up, let's talk about Cardale Jones. Cardale Jones is the third string quarterback for this squad. As I said before in my last episode, this squad's starting quarterback injured. Second quarterback injured. They had to rely on their third quarterback, and he stepped up to the plate, and he hit a home run. Cardale Jones put in that twerk. Now he has a big decision to make, whether he's going to enter the NFL draft or whether he's going to return to college for his senior year and possibly play for the Ohio State Buckeyes and try and improve his draft stock. I personally think he should return to college because he's only played 3 games, my G, and I feel like he can improve his draft stock with a strong season next year. It's important to improve your draft stock because the higher you're drafted in the NFL, the more paper you make. And let's face it, man, never forget, the money is the motive. Always.
The money is the motive.
Cardale Jones, by the way, had an awful turnover in this game. Jameis Winston, hit backwards pass. The Buckeyes in general had 4 turnovers, and they still overcame the Oregon Ducks. Shout out to the Buckeyes, man. They put in that twerk. Next up, I got to give a big shout out to my man Ezekiel Elliott. I feel like after both the offensive and defensive line for the Ohio State Buckeyes, I feel like Ezekiel Elliott was the player of the game. He had 246 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot, man. Then on top of that, out of the 246 yards, listen to this, 171 of those 246 yards were before contact. That means that offensive line was not playing around. Clearly that offensive line is related to me. They had my genetics in them because only somebody like Mr. Alejandro could be that physical to make sure my running back does not get touched. So shout out to all them goons that was in the trenches putting in that work.
Put in work. Put them in the dirt.
Now, I want to talk about the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback for the Oregon Ducks, Marcus Mariota. I felt like he did not really have a strong game. If you look at his statistics, not bad, but I feel like the Oregon Ducks needed him to put in that work, and he didn't really have a star-studded game. When the Ducks score 30-plus points, the Ducks are undefeated with Mariota. When they score less than 30 points, they are winless with Mariota, and they only scored 20 points, and we saw what happened. They took an L. Now, one last thing, I want to talk to all the Big Ten supporters, all the fans for the Big Ten. The people for the Big Ten feel like this is a W for them. No, cut it out, stop it. This is a W for the Ohio State Buckeyes. If you don't know what the Big Ten is, that's the conference that the Ohio State Buckeyes are in. I find it weird that in the college football sport, fans like to say, oh, well, he's in my conference and our conference puts in work. Let me explain something to you. I'm a fan of the New York Giants. I do not root for anybody else in my division. I hate the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles, and the Washington Redskins. So I don't understand how a fan of the Big Ten could say, well, you know, my team didn't make it, but another team from the Big Ten made it, so I'm going to show them love. Nah, if that team is in your conference and your team did not show up, but another team from your conference is showing up, you're supposed to be rooting against them. Anyway, shout out to the 2015 Ohio State Buckeyes. They are the college football champions for this season. By the way, LeBron James was in the building, showing his hometown squad some love. And of course, Mr. Alejandro's about to show them some love because I like the work that they was putting in. Y'all earned it, man. Tell them. There you have it, folks. Mr. Alejandro's recap of the 2015 College Football National Championship game. What do you guys think about the new playoff system? What do you guys think about the National Championship game? Are you glad with the outcome or are you upset? You know what you got to do. Tell them in the comments. Tonight's Krabby Bow Tie is brought to you by Countess Mara. Blue and red, because the Ducks went to bed. Tune in for more sports, cars, video game, fitness, and all that. Follow at Em Alejandro to hear my immediate reaction to live sports events. Or if you want to hear me cover a certain team or topic, tell them. TA drinkers, y'all know what time it is. It's turn up time. It's tell them time. Special outro remix. Yeah. I said the Buckeyes, they showed up. The Ducks, they got it up. The Buckeyes, they showed up. The Ducks, they got it up. Mariota, you lost the throne. Shout out Cardale Jones. Mariota, you lost the throne. Shout out Cardale Jones. Mariota, you lost the throne. Shout out Cardale Jones. Mariota, you lost the throne. Shout out Cardale Jones. Tell him, T-E-A. We don't play. T-E-A. We don't play. Woo! Shout out to the NCAA for finally implementing a playoff system into their season and has made me a fan of the sport. As I said before, highest rated event ever on ESPN. There's a reason for that. Add playoffs to this sport, it becomes a lot more popular. Good idea, and I'm sure y'all are making more paper. As I said before, it's always about the paper. So let's get this paper with this boogie right here. The Buckeyes on fire, so shout out Meyer. The Buckeyes on fire, so shout out Meyer. I said the Buckeyes are on fire, so shout out Meyer. The Buckeyes on fire, so shout out Meyer. Alright, I'm in the whip. Uh-oh, I just pressed the button. Oh, I just dropped the top. Convertible. Here we go. I need that bass. Where my subs at? Here we go. Last time I drove. Lower these windows, man. I don't need no windows. I drop the top. I'm in South Beach. Riding around the corner. Here we go. More bass for the bunnies. I mean, here we go. Flexing with the hard beat. Looking wavy. I got the shades on. Yeah. Looking fancy. Tell Alejandro.